Good morning, everyone. Augustina Holtz here with John R. Wood Properties. Welcome to my channel. I am recording a series of interviews with professionals in our community, and I think it's important for the audience to really understand that there is help out there, and to understand some of the services that our professionals do provide. Today I'm interviewing Bill Ricca, and welcome, Bill.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I know about Bill Ricca, and and he'll either deny it or he'll confirm it.
I'll
um,
own it, I promise.
okay, so Bill Ricca is with U.S. Health Advisors, and the way I know Bill is, and he's also a very big master networking person. Everybody knows Bill, and he is really good at what he does as far as getting to meet people and connecting people. And that's really what it's all about if you want to promote a business and you want to succeed in business, especially if you're an entrepreneur. The way I know Bill, well, I know he's a science geek. I know he's a medical nerd. But the way I know Bill is he cuts a fine jib wearing his Spider-Man costume. Bill and I belong to a networking group called Master Networks, and he is always such a joy to have in our meetings. And the thing that I really like about him is that he takes people along who are just starting in his chapters, and he takes them through to meet all of the other networking groups. Because again, that's how we succeed. We work with people we know, like, and trust, and we really support and lift each other up. So, Bill, tell me a little bit about, what you do. And I know that you work with your partner and your wife, Ashley, who is a lovely person, and that you support each other in the industry, but you don't work in the same companies.
Correct. That's actually on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We are both health insurance agents, and 90% of 90% of people are employed and have access to a group plan through their employer, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that 10% of people out there that are self-employed, independent contractor, small business owner, entrepreneurs, and they don't have access to a group plan.
Right.
And what they don't know is what's out there for them. There are lots of different types of health insurance plans that are out there that they don't realize. And working where I work, we have some quality products, some quality policies that are great if they're a good fit for you. But if they're not, I never want to be in a position where I say, well, what I have is not good for you, so good luck.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be the one that can help. And then, so, my wife, Ashley, came on board, and she went to work with a different company whose portfolio is basically everything that I can't offer.
Okay.
So everything that she offers, I don't offer, and everything I offer, she doesn't offer. So that way, everywhere on the individual market, we can help anybody. Anybody, depending on what your needs are. If you have a ton of pre-existing conditions and you need a plan with no pre-existing limitations, we can do that. If you're not eligible for a subsidy and you have a clean medical history and you would fit into this category, we can do that too. If you're going to be eligible for Medicare in 3 or 4 months and you just want something short term, we can do that too. So we really can help everybody, and that's why we do it that way.
Yes, and I appreciate that, because I reached out to you to help me with my health insurance, and it was Ashley. Ashley helped me through it, and she was awesome. And she called like the night before you were going on a cruise, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
she spent an hour on the phone with me, and another couple of hours just to design the program that would be right for me. And she was so quick she had everything for me. And if she would say, well, it's going to do this, I'm like, nope, that's not for me. going to, nope, that's not for me. And so she, by asking the questions, helped to design a program that was absolutely correct for my needs and my daughter's needs. And I so appreciated all the time that she took to do that. And that's after coming off of a health insurance program that I went online to get, which is, don't ever do that, folks, because they don't know you. They don't know you. So they don't know what you need. They might spend like 5 minutes with you and then fit you into something. But at the end of the day, when you actually look at your program and you see that you're not covered for everything. And so it's just, I really appreciated that extra mile that she went to really develop something that was going to be comfortable for me and my daughter.
And really, that's what it comes down to. There, unfortunately, in my industry, there are, there's good and bad eggs, I guess you could say. And I would never begrudge anybody for doing whatever they can to make a sale and put food on their table. But at the same time, you're dealing with people's lives, and they should have a say in it, rather than me contact you and say, Augustina, I got the perfect plan for you, and this is why, and these are all the things that it does.
Right.
It behooves us to say, well, what is it that you need? And I will just, all the things that don't do that, I'll take them off the table. And I leave the choice up to you. Really, what we do is more education and empowerment so that you can feel safe and comfortable making your own decision. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know what questions to ask. Well, that's where we come in and we point out the advantages and the disadvantages and say, does that work with you? And a lot of people are afraid to say that budget is a consideration, but it absolutely is.
It is.
If you can't afford more than such and such a month, then I'm not going to offer you things that are more than that. I'm going to keep things in the realm of what you need, so.
But that's key. And
that's the same thing.
And that's key, is that you are asking. We might not know the right questions to ask, but you're asking the right questions so that you'll bring that information out. And that's something that not a lot of people do. So I really do appreciate that. So Bill, tell me a little bit about, let me see, I've got something else I wanted to ask you. You were in the military.
I was.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Very long time. I graduated high school and couldn't figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up.
That's what's most of us.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was the medical field, but I wasn't sure, which direction I wanted to go. And I scored very well on the ASVAB testing, and of course, so the recruiters came calling, and I looked at some programs and everything, and all the benefits that come with serving, and I felt almost like a need to do it. I felt like I owed it. So I did it. I loved it. I became a combat medical specialist, and I went to Texas for my training, and I spent most of my active duty at Fort Campbell, which is the 101st Airborne Division. So had a lot of fun, and then I wasn't quite ready to give it up. So when my enlistment ended, I joined the Florida Army National Guard, which I thought was going to be a 1 weekend a month kind of thing, and it was a lot of that. But the National Guard is what gets called up for hurricanes and for all kinds of different disasters and stuff. So spent a lot of time on active duty in the Guard too, and then I was in the Guard when we had the September 11th, and then again with the rise ups in 2003. So I spent, while I was on the Florida Army National Guard, I was on active status for a lot of that time too.
Wow.
So yeah. So, and then the day came where I had to make a choice between continuing my military career or finishing my education, and I had a really hard time deciding on it, but they were actually mutually exclusive, so I had to pick one, and I went with my education. So,
well, thank you for your service.
I did love it, and I missed it. So,
okay, I really appreciate it, and thank you for your service, Bill. Now, getting back to health insurance, with the whole COVID-19 uh, issue, how has that changed? How has the process changed, and how has it changed your business and how you deliver health insurance to your customers?
Well, before the whole crisis began, I did a lot of
Hmm.
my work virtually anyway.
Hmm.
Um, so that aspect has not changed. The plans are the plans. What's out there is what's out there. And like I said, I did a lot of my work virtually. Um, I try to keep that personal aspect of it. So even though I'm not meeting in person with somebody, I still speak to them, and I do things, the screen sharing software or a Zoom meeting or something. So
Hmm.
I still incorporated that into my business anyway. So there was that personal aspect of it.
Okay.
That part hasn't changed. Um, what's happening is, um, people were verifying that they had benefits, of course,
Mm.
because with the health crisis, everybody wants to know that they're covered.
Right.
Um, but it's weird. Some of the attitudes have changed, and people have started cutting back on certain expenses and stuff, which is understandable with everything
Right.
going on. Um, there are a few people that have contacted me and questioned whether or not um, canceling their health insurance to save a few bucks would be wise. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to advise against that, for many reasons. But ultimately, I mean, it's a health crisis. You need to be
Right.
protected with your health.
Yes.
So it's like that's one of the last things you should do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other than that, um, I do recommend that if you've been kind of on the fence about health insurance and stuff, I definitely recommend contacting your agent, contacting me or whatever, see what options are available, because particularly on the independent market, um, there are a lot of different options, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are viable options based on your health history. So a lot of them will come off the table as options if you are sick,
Okay.
or if you develop a pre-existing condition. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are, if you develop, pneumonia and then decide to get health insurance, the pneumonia is not going to be covered, and anything related to the pneumonia is not going to be covered.
Right.
So it's better to get it when you're healthy. I mean, that's one of the things that I stress, because it's so hard to get that across to people, because when you're healthy, you don't think you need
You're
it,
not thinking of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. You're not thinking of it. It seems like a waste, but it's insurance. I mean, that's like, I look at car insurance the same way. You get it and hope you never need it, but it's better that you have it than not, and if you can take advantage, if you think about car insurance, if you can take advantage of a better plan and a better rate because you have a
Right.
clean driving history, why wouldn't you do that? Don't wait
Mm-hmm.
until you get into an accident, because then that option's off the table, so I always recommend, looking at your options at your healthiest.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
we
that's really
can't do
good
anything about
advice.
what's in the past. We can only do, we can't do anything about what your health history looks like up until this point.
Right.
I'm going to show you what options are available, but before that status, whatever it is, changes, you want to take a look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really good advice, Bill, because you're right. It's like anything else. You need that insurance. You never know what's going to happen. With your car, you never know if you're going to get into an accident, but you have to have insurance. So I think people should be taking health insurance as serious as a car insurance or home insurance,
Hmm.
because it's health
Absolutely.
insurance.
Mhm.
So, Bill, what else would you like to talk about today? What else should we know about you?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm very heavily into networking. I
Mm-hmm.
think networking, when you're self-employed, like you are, like I am, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different avenues that you can take to help build your business. And with people like you and me who are very extroverted, networking comes very
Mm-hmm.
naturally.
Yes.
And it's done a lot for me, both in my business, but also in my personal life, and just fulfillment and everything. And so as you mentioned, I do try and help people get into the, some people that are new to it, that don't quite know how it works.
Hmm.
I try to mentor them for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's helpful. It eases that transition until they're good at it themselves.
Hmm.
But it also gives me the opportunity to go visit people like you who are in a different chapter and stuff. And
Hmm.
one of the great things is when I show up to a chapter meeting that's not my own, and everyone stands up and is like, "Oh, hey, Bill, how are
Hey,
you?"
Bill,
So
it's Bill Ricca. I know, and that's what I mean. That's what it allows us to do. Is we our family just grows exponentially because even if you haven't met someone in a chapter yet, you're part of that networking family. Of course, I'm talking about Master Networks,
mhm.
and you're right. It has done so much. And the thing that we have to remember about those types of those types of networking groups is if you're coming in with an attitude of contribution and helping others, it will come back to you. And some people come into the meetings and these types of organizations with their hands out. and
I think
and
I think everybody does. I think to
yeah.
some degree everybody comes into it that way.
Hmm.
And what separates the successful from the not so successful is really how long it takes you to realize that if you change your focus from getting business
Hmm.
to giving business, and just leaving the getting business on faith alone, however long it takes you to come to that realization, the sooner you will come to that realization, the more successful you'll be. I never
Hmm.
look at how many referrals I get. I'm
Mm.
always tracking how many I've passed,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I always try to make sure I'm consistently at the
Mm.
top of that list, because I know the more times I pass referrals, the more will come to me, and I'm not worried about that.
And especially in your industry, in the healthcare industry, it's something that while you're practicing that you're developing those relationships, and your contributions are setting you apart from everyone else.
Hmm.
And I really truly believe that, and we come by it honestly. I mean, we really do want to help other people, we want to connect other people. So I think it's a good fit for the type of industries that we're in.
Hmm.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate your taking the time out of your busy day.
Hmm.
Bill, if we wanted to if your customers or if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, how could they reach you?
Well, certainly you can find me on Facebook. A lot of my networking partners and clients and friends and stuff, of course, they all know me on Facebook because I have a
Hmm.
lot of fun with my Facebook posts. Um, but I'm certainly on there. My business page is on there as well. My They can call or text anytime. My cell
Hmm.
number is 239-940-4268. um, and really it's just, I mean, I'm out there, so they can contact you,
Hmm.
say, how do we get a hold of that Bill guy? So
Really always enjoy us having conversations with you and seeing you at our meetings. So
me
thanks
too.
so much for joining us today. Augustina Holtz with John Arwood Properties and Bill Ricca with US Health Advisors.